princess gets accidentally involved in the battle between beastmen and vampires by her own maid. In the ongoing fight between beastmen and vampires, the vampires are winning because they can use magic. But one vampire, Chaostal, warns them not to get too sure of themselves. He says it's important for the Empire's first fight. Commander Comrie agrees and tells everyone to make sure they win. But things change when we meet Comrie. She's been staying at home for 3 years, even though she's from a famous family called Gandusblood, known for making top soldiers for the Empire. Comrie feels a lot of pressure because she doesn't have magic powers, isn't good at sports, and is short. So, she decided to stay home and try to be a peaceful vampire. While Comrie is thinking about her life, she notices the Empire's mark on her body. Then, out of nowhere, a maid named Vil appears. Comrie isn't sure about her, but Vil says she's there to help. Comrie's dad, Armin, confirms this and says that Vil is one of the 7 important Crimson Lords chosen by the Empress. Even though Comrie needs to use the bathroom urgently, Vil insists they go to the palace right away. This unexpected interruption marks the start of Comrie's journey into the complicated world of vampire politics and power struggles. Comrie is surprised to hear this, and her father reminds her how he asked her to start working. She said she'd only do it if she could become the Empress. So, her father asked the Empress to give her a chance. That's how she ended up becoming a Crimson Lord. But Comrie doesn't remember making the contract. Vil tells Comrie that the Empress snuck in at night and kissed her in her sleep to form the contract. At the palace, the Empress warmly welcomes Comrie and tells her to treat her like a friend. She explains what it means to be a Crimson Lord. Comrie has to win a war against other nations every 3 months. After 100 wins, she can become the next Empress. But if she loses, she'll lose her life. Comrie is given a unit of 500 soldiers, but they're vampires who might betray her to move up in rank. Comrie worries about her weakness, so the Empress advises her to keep it a secret and act strong. Vil promises to help, but Comrie is still suspicious. Comrie meets her unit but struggles to open the door. When she finally does, she accidentally kills a traitorous vampire by letting go of the door. Vil praises her, and they meet Chaostal and the other troops. Chaostal is impressed by Comrie's quick action, and she pretends she could have done it with just her pinky finger. The troops are impressed by her supposed strength. Comrie addresses the unit as their new commander but messes up her speech. Despite this, they have their first battle against the Laplico Kingdom, where Comrie's forces overpower the enemy. Comrie receives a report that the enemy general has been defeated, and her troops have won. She boasts that if she were on the battlefield, she would have ended the battle in a second, impressing her soldiers, who chant her name. She motivates them to believe in her and not to think about betraying her. The soldiers cheer, but Comrie wonders how she got into this situation. A journalist named Melka comes for an interview, but Comrie is overwhelmed by her questions and pushes her away. She believes strength isn't just about words and aims to defeat the commanders of the other 5 nations to bring glory to their empire. The next day, Vil shows Comrie an exaggerated article Melka wrote about her. Comrie is shocked. Vil tries to talk about the day's plans, but Comrie insists it's her day off. However, Vil starts reading a love story she found in Comrie's belongings, embarrassing her. To stop Vil from exposing her, Comrie agrees to do whatever she says. Vil gets carried away with affection, making Comrie uncomfortable. Comrie meets with the unit's executives and asks them what they want as a reward for their success in the last battle. Chaostal suggests different outfits for her, while Mela has a wrap bow. Bullius decides to save his request for later. After the meeting, Chaostal finds Comrie intriguing and reveals he found a secret document about an incident 3 years ago where 100 vampires were killed. They suspect Comrie might have been involved, along with someone named Millicent. Outside, they encounter a mysterious girl in the courtyard who reveals she's trying to kill the Empress. She mentions a barrier around the palace and checks on Comrie, who recently became a Crimson Lord. Despite their attempts to stop her, she easily overpowers them and disappears. They decide not to report it and investigate on their own. The next morning, Comrie is surprised to find Vil in a strange outfit. She wonders if Vil has any shame, but Vil claims she doesn't. Vil tries to discuss Comrie's schedule, but Comrie wants to take the day off. However, Vil reminds her it's the day she gets to choose a magical beast, which excites her. They go to the stables, and Comrie bonds with a beast named Bucephalus. When she tries to ride it, they go flying at incredible speed. Meanwhile, at the training grounds, Johann, the vampire Comrie defeated on her first day, plans revenge. But Comrie surprises him by flying in and kicking him in the head. She tries to control her beast but falls off, and Vil catches her. Johann tries to attack again, but Vil trips him, and Comrie accidentally pokes him in the eyes, pretending it was intentional. Johan challenges Komari to a duel in the arena. Komari worries about being killed, but Vil reassures her through an earpiece. Vil poisoned Johan's lunch, weakening him for the fight. Komari pretends to use magic, and Johan falls into a hole. The others think it's advanced magic, but it's actually Vil's doing. Komari panics as Johan gets closer, but Vil reveals she planted landmines, causing Johan to pass out. Komari celebrates her victory with everyone cheering for her. After a relaxing bath, she thinks about thanking Vil, who appears suddenly. Komari notices Vil's injured hands, and Vil explains she had to dig the holes manually because she can only use poison magic. They share a moment, and Komari thanks Vil for saving her. Komari wonders why Vil seems so loyal to her, and Vil mentions it's because of a certain crime she committed. Meanwhile, Johan is angry about losing to Komari, but Millicent of the Inverse Moon appears, suggesting they should work together. Komari attends an imperial party with Belias and Vil to celebrate her war achievements. The Empress congratulates her on defeating 4 other nations, but Komari feels she just got lucky. The Empress offers her a glass of blood, but Komari can't drink it because she can't stand the taste. The Empress reveals that making Komari a Crimson Lord was her father's way of helping her. She reassures Komari that she's loved and not alone, hoping she won't despair again. The Empress tells her to enjoy the party, but Komari thinks about the events from 3 years ago. Millicent appears, asking to chat with her. Komari agrees to chat with Millicent, trying to stay calm despite feeling startled. Millicent, amused by Komari's attitude, expresses her disgust for Komari being favored by everyone. She takes off her mask and introduces herself, triggering traumatic memories for Komari. Millicent throws a dagger at Komari, but Belias jumps in to save her, getting stabbed instead. Chaos erupts as Vil attacks Millicent, while Millicent retrieves her dagger and taunts them. The Empress joins the fight, scolding Millicent for ruining the party. Millicent declares her intention to kill the Empress and Komari. Millicent attempts to take Komari hostage, but Komari's reaction disappoints her. Millicent reveals she's part of the Inverse Moon, a group dedicated to restoring actual death by destroying all the dark cores. The Empress tries to capture Millicent, but she escapes. Vil checks on Komari, who wonders why her tormentor has returned. A week later, Chaostal urges an attack on the enemy, but Vil advises him to think calmly. Belias is in intensive care because attacks from ritual articles like Millicent's dagger have equal power to the dark cores and can negate their healing. The council suspects there's a traitor among them because Millicent's escape gate needed setting up beforehand. Chaostal asks for Komari's whereabouts, but Vil lies, saying she's out scouting the enemy. In her room, Komari recalls intense bullying from Millicent in the past, which she started for no reason. She remembers the day she fought back, but the memories are scattered. Komari feels she hasn't changed from being a recluse. Vil enters her room as Chaostal locates her using a strand of Komari's hair. Komari is confused by Vil's kindness and receives an envelope containing Vil's true feelings. Vil comforts Komari, saying many people care for her. Suddenly, Vil is impaled from behind and collapses, coughing up blood. Millicent tells Komari she used a regular blade this time and promises a more tragic death later. She takes Vil, threatening to kill her if Komari doesn't show up alone at the city ruins by midnight. Komari decides to stay shut in forever, but memories of her time with Vil make her change her mind. Komari reads Vil's letter, learning about their shared past at an academy where Vil was bullied relentlessly by Millicent. Komari saved Vil's life once, and Vil became her maid to support her. Vil promises never to betray Komari again and vows to make her happy. Komari is touched by Vil's words and quickly rushes out to rescue her. She finds a worried Chaostal and gathers the rest of the troops to start their counterattack against the Inverse Moon. Komari is happy to see Belias has been healed but tells her troops not to follow her into the enemy hideout, declaring it her battle. In a chapel, Millicent has Vil tied up, and we discover that Johan is her partner in crime. However, realizing her true intentions, Johan regrets collaborating with her and pleads with her to stop. Millicent proceeds to stab him as well, but Komari enters the chapel, shocked at the sight of Vil. But that's where this video ends, and if you haven't watched, young girl was exiled for being weak but discovers S-rank slime and become overpowered. Click on the video on the right, and if you find any shortcomings in this cool anime video, please let me know in the comment box, buddy.